Hello guys, welcome back to John's Workshop, and this is workshop blether number 2. So I did a workshop blether 3 or 4 weeks ago now, as a bit of a tester really, and it's an episode all around, if you've not seen the first one, sort of behind the scenes in the workshop, stuff that's going on that's not specifically projects, that I'm making either on any of the machinery or whatever. So I put a question out with the last episode and sort of said, is this good? Do people want to see it? And there was quite a lot of positive feedback. So we'll do another one. So this one's going to be slightly different. There'll be a bit of metal work, if you like, through this one as well, as a bit of interest, something a bit different, and also the usual sort of shop tour. What's happening in the shop in the background. And we'll start off with viewer mail. So I've got some viewer mail that's come in, so I'm just going to quickly run through some of that. There's a couple of purchases as well that have arrived, so I'll run through what they are as well, and then we'll have a bit of a wander around the shop talking about some of the things that are going on in the background. So I'll bring you in at the bench and we'll go through some of the viewer mail now. Okay, so we're in at the bench, and I'll just run through some things. So a couple of purchases that have arrived. Firstly, my steering gaiters that I've ordered have arrived, and hopefully, as I showed in the last workshop blether, the oil leak that I've got on the Harrison lathe, this end of the gaiter is going to make the oil seal that's going to hopefully stop that oil leak. So we've got those here now, so they're ready to I'm ready to strip the lathe down and have a go with that. A purchase that kind of wasn't really expected, but I saw it and it kind of ties in with some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about in a bit. So I've bought a Wi-Fi digital microscope. It's an Amazon purchase. It's Yinama, Yinama. It's like I say, Wi-Fi small microscope that you can connect to a phone, a tablet, a PC, whatever. So we'll do a bit of a review of that a bit later on the episode. In terms of viewer mail, there's various bits that have come from various people. So I think first to arrive was from Terry Bloomfield, one of my subscribers, and we have quite a lot of email traffic backwards and forwards. Terry also lives in Scotland. He's not too far from where I am, and he kindly drove out to our house last week, Monday, Tuesday I think it was, and left a parcel of goodies on the doorstep, and I've just I've unpacked those and we've got them out on the bench. So just going to quickly run through what Terry's brought, and he's obviously been listening to some of the comments that I've said in videos about not having certain bits of measurement gear, and also that materials, because I'm just starting out, I don't have a lot of bar stock and things like that. So Terry's obviously listened to that quite hard, and very thoughtfully brought some things down that are going to be very useful in the shop. So firstly, and I guess most importantly for me, there's a 0 to 25 micrometer there. It's a Draper micrometer, looks to be in very good condition, just as it should be really. So I haven't got any metric micrometers at all. So this is going to come in really, really handy. So at the moment, and you'll have seen in my videos, I'm forever converting metric to imperial, and using my imperial gear. So that's going to be incredibly useful. There's a 25 to 50 mil micrometer as well, which is a Starrett. Again, very nice in its box. So both of those are going to come in incredibly useful, so really pleased with those. There's a Work Zone vernier, old-fashioned vernier. Well, it's in a work zone box, but it actually says Scala on the vernier itself, so I'm not sure. That's not a name I'm familiar with, Scala, to be honest, but these are, you know, useful things, and I'm forever using my digital vernier places where I really shouldn't be using it often, you know, marking things out and using the tips of the vernier to gently scratch, thinking I'm not going to do any damage. Well, of course, over time you do. So it's going to be really useful to have a vernier that I can use that's, you know, around the shop I can pick up. It's not the best measurement device that I've got, but it's a good vernier that will mark things out or measure things if I need to, if I'm doing any fabrication or welding or whatever. So that's brilliant. Another vernier to the collection. And then Terry's looked out of his bar stock just some bits of steel, which he's very kindly given me. So there's a couple of bits of tube in there. Got my rule, so we're talking, I don't know, that's probably an imperial size, looking at that, 1 7/8 OD, 1 5/8 ID, and, you know, foot long. So useful bits of material, nice bit of solid bar, black bar, 40mm diameter, again very useful. Not got many bits of steel at all in the shop, so every time I want to make something I've got to put an order in, and when you're just ordering dribs and drabs it's quite expensive. Bit of smaller tube in there, sort of 3/4 diameter, and a nice bit of flat plate. That I'm sure we're going to make something useful out of that. And I'm thinking a quill plate for the mill potentially out of that to replace the one that's on there. It's got a saw cut through it, so effectively it's going to make, I'll need to finish that saw cut off and make 2 separate pieces, but I think the bigger piece will probably make a very nice quill plate for the mill. So a future project potentially in there. And then Terry's also sent, you know, he said I've got some big tooling with big shanks that he can't hold on any of his machinery. Would I like them? So there's, you know, there's some drills, carbide drills, various bits of other M mills, a similar drill there. They will fit in my mill. I think there's a big M mill, this one potentially, no, another drill, must be this one. So, you know, 3 flute, solid carbide M mill, all useful stuff. So very welcome addition to the shop, all of this. High speed steel, 4 flute M mill, in good condition. And I say all these will fit in my collet chuck. And then various different carbide inserts, most of which, in fact all of which, I think this one might be one that I don't have a tool holder for, but it's never a problem because at some point I'm going to get some proper brazing gear in here, and having spare carbide inserts are really useful for brazing into bits of tool steel to make form tools and things like that, so all useful. So thank you, Terry. There's a ball end end mill there, needs a bit of, it's had a bit of abuse, that one, but again, a future tool that I'm looking to buy is a tool and cutter grinder. Carbide stock is always useful, you can turn it into other things, regrind it, so all useful stuff. So thank you, Terry, very much appreciated. The measurement gear especially, I mean, that's fantastic. That's just expanded my capability in the shop no end, having some metric measurement gear, so that's brilliant. Another piece of steel's arrived. This is from a friend and ex-work colleague, Andy, and Andy's asked me if I'll make a particular tool up for him for swaging ducting, where you join ducting together. So he's getting me a drawing sent through, and he sent me a bit of material up to make it out of. So that's going to be another project upcoming, probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So you'll be watching me work through that project as well. So I've got that ready for a project, and I've got another delivery there. It's still boxed up. It's not been out of the box yet. I do know what's in it, but I'll clear the desk a little bit, and we'll open that up and show you what's in there. Right, we've had to tidy up, so we'll get into this now and see what's inside. Very well packaged. And this has come from Derek, one of my subscribers. And we had a bit of to and fro by email. And it's a 11th edition Machinery's Handbook. And Derek was asking me, had I got a Machinery's Handbook, and I said no, I don't have one, never had one. And basically what prompted this was the discussion over Morse tapers. Obviously I've been doing one for the tailstock die holder, and he was saying there's lots of useful information in one of these, and did I have one? I said no, I didn't. So this is my very first look at a Machinery's Handbook. I've never seen one before. This is obviously very old. Derek did say it's been in his family for quite some time, I think. I'm not quote who it was in his family, but I think he's owned it for a long time, and he's also got other machinery handbooks, some newer versions, as well as the very latest one, or one of the latest ones electronically. So yeah, I'm not going to go through this because lots of you guys might have already got one of these or seen one of these, but absolutely full of every bit of useful information that you could want in a workshop. So absolutely fantastic. That's going to be a really useful reference to complement my Zeus book that I've had for many years. So, you know, between the Zeus book and the Machinery's Handbook, there shouldn't be any information that I'm missing now readily to hand out here in the workshop. So that's brilliant. Thank you, Derek, very much appreciated. I do like books. You know, I'd far rather be looking at it in here than on a computer. It's far easier to reference and find things, so that's absolutely fantastic. That's a really, really, really nice bit of viewer mail. So thank you again, Derek. That's spot on. So what we're going to do now is we'll just tidy up the packaging, and we're going to do a bit of sheet metal work as part of this workshop Blether. So, you know, machinist does sheet metal work. What could possibly go wrong? So I'll bring you back when we're doing some of that. Right guys, we're going to, apologies for the handheld. The reason I'm handheld is because we've got this off the bottom of the camera, which is what fits it to the tripod. What I want to do is make another holder, if you like, for this. So it's going to be very rough and ready. It doesn't need to be anything special. The camera's not going to be filming when it's sat in it, so if it's a bit loose, it really doesn't matter. So what I'm going to use is, I've got some aluminium plate. So we've basically got this piece off, and I've cut myself a square of paper, and I'm going to use this just as a template, basically to, you know, to wrap round the angles, and then a piece, and I'm doing this one-handed, at the bottom to act as a stop. So I'm going to cut that template up a bit. Obviously I need both hands for that, so I'll bring you back when I've done that, and then once we've got that done, we'll sit that on here, mark it out, cut this out, bend it, fold it, and then hopefully that'll do as another holder for the camera, and that's all part of this video that I'm shooting now, and we'll show you that in place once we've got it fixed to the wall. So I'll bring you back once I've done a bit of surgery on this bit of paper. Okay, so we've cut this now, and I've just used the plastic part as a template. You can see there with the joints. Now I know this is thicker, and you're supposed to leave a bending allowance, because obviously as I bend this, it's going to bend slightly differently to the paper, because the paper is obviously very thin. What I've done is I've left it a tiny bit of, this is all just rough, so it doesn't matter, so I've just left a bit of slop in all of these joints really. I've not done them too tight. We'll see how we go. You can calculate it all out. There's formulas that you can use. For what this is, it doesn't warrant that level of work, so I think this will be somewhere near. We'll cut it slightly bigger all the way around than that template, and then if there's any sort of overhanging bits, we'll just dress those off with a file afterwards. So I'm going to transfer that template now, or a plan I think as it's called in sheet metal work, onto the aluminium, and then we'll get some tin snips out and see if we can cut that out with tin snips. If not, it'll be a hacksaw and a file job. But what I'll do now is I'll attach this back to the camera so I can get the camera back on the tripod, and then we'll film the cutout and bending of this. Okay, so we're just going to draw around this plan with a marker pen now. I'm not going to draw this bottom edge. I'm lining that up with where there's already a fold in the metal. You can hear the rain. We've got storm something or other coming through today. I think we're getting off fairly lightly in Scotland for a change. I think the guys down south are having it worse, especially in Wales by the looks of it. There's a lot of rain, I think, but they've said we're going to get it tonight. And up on the hills where we are, they've said we could get up to 120 millimetres of rain overnight, which will be nice for ducks. Okay, there we go, dead quick, dead rough and ready, but we've got the template onto there now. So I'm just going to locate my aviation snips that I've got and see. I have cut through this in the past, that's where this lump's gone, so I know they'll cut it okay. So we'll just see how closely we can get to those lines with those snips. I'll bring you back when we're doing that. Okay, so we're going to have a go with these. I've got some gill bows as well, you know, the old-fashioned tin snips, but these are pretty good, so we'll give these a try and just see how we get on. We'll leave that top edge just for now. I think what we'll do is trying to make sure this is always on the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to give myself a fighting chance by cutting the end bit off here. I think this is just about on the limits of what these will cut. This is about 1.5 millimeters thick, I think, looking at this plate, aluminium. So it's a decent thickness. You just get some pliers and bend that. See if we can bend this bit down a bit. Should really have some gloves on for this, but being it's aluminium, I should be okay as long as I be careful what I'm doing. Probably going to be the hardest bit, trying to cut along this where it's already been folded. We might have to stick this in the vise and just file the worst off. Somewhere near there. So we're just I'm just going to put a mark. Pen's not the best. About due for a new one of these, I think. I can just about see that. Right, I'm just going to put that in the vise now and file that down to that black line I've put on, and then we'll be somewhere near our overall sizes, and then we'll give it a bit of a clean up, get rid of the burrs, and then we'll come back at the vise and start putting the bends in. Okay guys, what we've done there, I've been just all around the edges, just draw filed them, taken the burrs off. Nothing fancy, there's no point filming that. Just a quick clean up, and I've marked on there the two first bend lines that we're going to attempt to put in. So I've taken the soft jaws out of the vise because we're going to need a nice straight edge for this. So I'm going to line the first bend line up with the top of the vise. I'm going to go slightly under. I'm going to grip slightly underneath where that line is, and then this hammer will do. We'll see how we get on. We might have to I don't know whether I'm going to need to put some heat on this or not, just to anneal it a bit to stop it cracking. It looks okay. I'm not sure what the alloy is. It's obviously aluminium of some sort, but so that's not bad. I know I've got to go a bit further with that bend yet, but that's got a 90-degree bend in there at least. So we'll do the same with the other side. Okay, that's got two in. Now this last one's going to be a bit more challenging. We'll be able to start it off in the vise. Actually, I just need to sit this template back in and have a look where that's going to be. It would help if you had the template the right way around. It'd look much better that way around. Right, so the bend line is coincident with those cutouts. we'll be able to get it started in here. As far as I can go. Now we're going to do the rest of that. Getting us somewhere near. We'll not give up the day job machining. It's I said it was going to be rough. It'll do the job. Blacksmith, that's what I should have been. Right, well, that'll do for a start. What we'll do now is I need to take the unit back off the camera and just do a trial fit to see whether we've got enough bend on these two sides that I've bent up. So I'll do that now. I'll pop that back off the camera and I'll bring you back when we're having a good old laugh at how daft that looks fitted to that wedge on the bottom of the camera. Well, it fits, but it's certainly not going to drop out of there. I'm just going to tweak those each side a little bit. We can bend those over a bit more and straighten that bottom section out a tiny bit, but it'll certainly do the job I want it to do. Not the prettiest thing in the world, is it? But I'm sure it's functional. I like that word. If it's functional. I'll just do a bit more tweaking and I'll bring you back and show you the finished thing just before we fix it up in its intended position. Right, well there we go guys, I'm going to call that a day. I'm not going to mess around with that anymore. We've just given that a bit of just a file up just to get rid of the vice marks and that, just to tidy it, but you can see there now, and I'm going to have to try and do this one-handed, but that fits in there nice and easily. Well, it does with two hands. There you go. So that's spot on. That's not going to come out. It's just what I want. And all I've had to do there is just I filed up around the outside, bit of a tidy up, and I just used a small triangular file just to get into these corners inside, just to take the very small part of the radius out where I'd bent it round. So that's why machinists are machinists and sheet metal workers are sheet metal workers. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get that back in with one hand, but End of the day, it will do the job. So next job, I'll just need to drill a couple of holes in there on the pillar drill. I'll not film that, it's just drilling 2 small holes through. That'll allow me to fix that up on the wall, and then I'll take you and show you what it's all about, and where we're going to be putting the camera for a certain part of the sort of work that I do around in the workshop. Command and control centre. Now what on earth could that possibly be? We'll just pan out and have a bit of a closer look. So we're in the pilot stage at the minute with this, and I'm relying on my video camera for a lot of the functionality, certainly for the main monitor. I've still not managed to link, despite my best efforts, several different tablets up to the monitor. So I'm going to persevere with that, but certainly for now I have the capability to display drawings up on the screen. So you can see there, this is a drawing from the tailstock die holder. Now this is just a scan that I'm projecting, but I need to use the video camera to help me do that at the moment. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the video camera off its little stand, which is what you've seen me make already, and I'll show you where that is once we've got the video camera off, and I'll show you a bit more of the functionality of the tablet and what that's doing for me in the workshop, as well as what I've got with the camera and the monitor. So I'll bring you back in a moment and we'll have a closer look at that. So I've taken the camera off its mount, so that I've lost the use of the monitor now, but you can see the mount that I've made screwed onto here, and this provides a docking station for the camera where I can charge it easily. I've got the charging cable there ready to go. I've got the HDMI cable to plug into it to get stuff up onto the monitor, so it's dead easy, just 2 plugs, and I've got everything I want on the monitor. Like I say, it's pilot stage at the minute. What I really want to do is project stuff from the tablet up onto the monitor, but I'm still struggling with that, so I need to do a bit more homework on that. Either way, the camera will live here in a docking station when it's charging, or when I'm not, when I'm not filming anything, so that's useful. What else you can see, obviously with the tablet, I've got various functionality on here. Just zoom in a bit on the tablet so you can see it a bit better without the light shining on it so much. In fact, we'll just kill this end light, that might help. So there's the tablet. So I've got 3 icons for use. I've got one which is just Google Play. So I've got various different music that I've got stored on here, so when I'm not filming I can be playing music along. So that's one thing. And then if I go back, I've got a calculator, dead easy to use. I can wipe the screen, use it with oily fingers while I'm working. So I've got calculator functionality, which means I don't need to go and dig a calculator out of a toolbox somewhere. So that's that. And then the third and final option I'm going to come on to in a moment. So this is the microscope that I've already shown you, and I've got some software onto the tablet from the microscope, and I'll do a bit of a look at that in a moment. So basically I've got music, calculator, and microscope functionality on here, And long term, what I want to get is the ability to be able to project off here up onto the monitor for drawings, whatever else I want to do. And I can also plug the camera in, like you've already seen, into here. If I film something and I want to have a quick look at it while I'm still out in the workshop, I don't have to go in the house and plug into a laptop. I can just dock the camera, plug in, have a look at what I've filmed on the monitor. So that's kind of, it's all in pilot stage at the moment, so we're having a bit of a play with it. What else you'll see is I've moved my we'll just put the lights back on now so you can see what I'm doing. I've moved my tool cabinet out of from under the bench. This is a much better place for it to live. It's right behind the lathe and the mill. I've got the use of the top. Obviously I've just got these paper drawings for the tailstock die holder on there at the minute, but this was here while I was doing some of the turning on the tailstock die holder. I've got all my measurement equipment right behind the lathe, easy to use, all the other tooling's in there. I've taken my granite table off the bench, and that's now going to live on top of the tool cabinet here, and that's useful for several reasons. One, it's right behind the machine. Two, it's away from the sort of dirtier environment of the bench, and three, I can use it for the microscope as well, so everything's kind of in one area for inspection, measurement, drawings, data. I'm trying to keep everything close to hand in one place. So that's kind of the plan with that. It'll obviously evolve over time. Okay guys, we'll have a look at the microscope now. So I'll just open the microscope app. Now I'm still trying to work out how this works properly. I've only just really got it set up, but this is the microscope unit. It's got a set of LEDs down the spout, and obviously the camera lens is in there. It's got a focus wheel on it. It's got a control for the brightness of the LEDs, so you can alter the brightness, power on and off, charging point in the back, and then we've got some zoom here to zoom in the amount of magnification. So we'll power this up. So there's two versions of this. There was the wired version and the wireless version, and the wireless version was a little bit more expensive, but it was still only £25 or something like that off Amazon. It's a Yinama, Yinama. You'll find them on Amazon. So that's that. So yeah, we've got vision now. So basically what I'm going to do now is just focus in on a few things and just show you. So this is just 6-inch rule. We're just going to drop that down. Now I know you're not going to be able to see the screen too well. I'll try and zoom you in on the screen in a minute. Let me just get this set. That's the image of the rule. So these are millimeters at that magnification. Now what I can do now is zoom in. So that's the full magnification there now. So that's the graduations on the rule. Just move across to the other side. No, sorry, they were half millimeters on that side of the rule. These are millimeters. So at full magnification there, you can see that's a millimeter between those two lines. So, and that's taking up 3/4 of the tablet screen. So incredible amount of magnification. It gets a bit difficult to control, a bit like a camera when you've got it in on full digital zoom. It's a bit fussy, but you can get a decent picture. So that's one thing. What I'm going to do now is just put it on my sleeve, just to give you an idea. This will take a bit of moving around, but hopefully you can see there the fibres in the material that make up the sweater that I'm wearing. You know, incredibly clear, and you can take photographs. You know, I can snap a photograph of that, I can take a video of it, so all very useful. And then I'm just going to zoom back out. That's just took a photo. You take a photo by just hitting the button on the front as well as driving it off the screen. So this is the tailstock die holder, and if you've watched those videos you'll know that when I did this knurl I'd got some issues with it. It wasn't knurling particularly well. So just as a kind of example, I can zoom in on that knurl so you can see there what was really happening with that knurl. There should have been as many lines in both directions, and so there's something wrong with the pitch in there, so it is kind of half pitched as I thought when I was doing the knurl. But it's interesting that you can get in that close. What I'll do now is just focus in on this turned diameter here at the front of the die stock holder, give you an idea of that. You do have to play around a bit with this to get the right image. So you can see there, you can see all the turning marks, and that's on the lowest magnification, but you can see all the grooves from turning across that diameter. So very good, very useful for that kind of thing. It's, you know, it is wireless, so I can take that over to the lathe, albeit I'm not going to be able to see the tablet that well, but I can unplug this tablet, 2 plugs out the side, and I can take the tablet with me. So I can take this anywhere in the workshop and get images, and, you know, look at things that I want to look at. So incredibly impressed with it, but you get the idea. So I'm going to play around with that a little bit more, but a very useful bit of kit. And what I've not got on the table here is tooling, but you could use this for if you've got some tooling that you don't want to strip down out of the lathe or out of the mill, but you want to check the edges on it and have a good look at them. You can just poke this thing up against, you know, your inserts or your end mills or whatever it is, and grab an image of it, have a look at, see what your tool wear looks like. If you're boring down, you know, deep inside something on the lathe, you don't want to take the part out of the chuck, but you want to try and get a look at a feature. Again, you know, and I've not tried this properly yet, but again, sort of handheld, I'm just popping that into there now. You know, I can get in, have a look at the surface finish in there, you know, probably have a look at some other features. If you've got holes hidden down somewhere, you know, you can get a look inside without having to take the part out of the chuck or out the vise on the mill. So lots of possibilities with that. Quite impressed with it for the money. Right guys, quick update. We've finally managed to connect the tablet to the monitor, and what I've used is this device. It's about £10 I think from Amazon, and it's a bit like Chromecast, and that's plugged straight into the back of the monitor, and I've connected via Wi-Fi, and we've finally achieved the connection. So I can now take the tablet in the house, or I can email, I can, you know, drop my drawings on email or whatever it is to the tablet, bring it out, plug it in, and I can display my drawings now up on the screen, which is what I really wanted the screen for more than anything. So that's all good, and there's a picture on there that's maybe of interest. We had a very strange weather phenomenon. This was 2 or 3 years ago now here, because we get some quite decent wind here, and we had some snow. It's probably kind of hard to show up, but you can see the snowballs there are actually been created by the wind. And I don't know whether you can see, but in the field behind us, there's some quite big ones. They go up to about sort of 12 inches in diameter, played in the field. And it was really strange because we sort of got up that morning and looked out, and it just looked like somebody had been rolling snowballs and leaving them dotted around the place, and it's actually created by the wind. It's very rare in the UK apparently. They do get it in Canada quite a lot, but so that was just a picture I put up just to test the functionality out. So I've now got the monitor working, which is great. So that kind of concludes the setup for the sort of IT, if you want to call it that, in the shop. So that brings us to the end of workshop Blether number 2. I hope you found that interesting. Sort of a bit of various stuff going on in the background. So that's kind of what we'll do from now on. We'll probably do them sort of once every 4 or 5 weeks, whatever, when there's a decent enough update to show. So as I said, I hope that was interesting, something a little bit different, and I now know that sheet metal work's not really my thing, which is good. I'll focus on what I can do, and we'll catch you all very shortly on the next video, which will probably be back on the tailstock die holder, just to complete that series off. And so thank you for subscribing. Thanks for viewing, thanks for the comments as usual. If you've not subscribed, please consider doing so. It helps the channel grow, and if you don't comment and you watch the videos, please consider a comment or two. It's all good. I enjoy the comments, so yeah, please stick a comment in if you like what you see. It just helps me configure what I'm doing to sort of suit everybody's taste as best I can. So we'll leave it there for today. So thank you very much, and we'll catch you on the next episode very shortly.